Welcome to another episode of Bubblegum Connects. We with Francesco Franadilla, the multi-talented.
Oh.
So with me and him, like, it's so weird now that we have to kind of speak about who you are, because it's kind of like I kind of know everything, so it's so hard to like ask questions sometimes. But I just wanted to let other people also understand you, know who you are.
Yeah.
When you're not behind the VHS. Who is Franadilla?
I'm just a young creative in Johannesburg, trying to find my way, trying to tell as much stories as I can along the way. Yeah, I'm still on my way as well, so I take that always in the back of my mind. At this point, I'm just grateful to everyone who's put me on, in terms of my parents and
shout out Mamzo,
and Babsa, and just like the people before me who believed in me, and I'm just trying to do right by them and right by the people who are after me. Yeah.
Hearing you say that as well is so beautiful, because I know there's so many things like that we don't even speak about, but like it's just there, you know. And I even remember like even the first time we met as well. It's literally like the craziest thing, because I didn't even think I was gonna meet you, because I met you the night before on the internet. I'm like, who's this guy in a thread? This guy in a thread, what's going on? What's his vibe? Because like I've never seen a bro like that, like in a long time as well, So I was like, yo, let me hit up this bro, what's going on? And the fact that I even like met you the next day, it was crazy.
Yeah, and when we met, it was even like, it's like we'd already clubbed each other for so long, and then from there it was just, I guess, every week.
Dad, we were blowing literally every day. My mom was like, yo, dog, who's this Francesco guy? Like, keep talking about this guy at the press. And then my family even started to cover you and that.
Nah, as I say, it's also like at my posse, because not that many people could come home, and when you came home, like the first thing that you did, like you went to my dad, you went to my mom, and they were like, this guy's a stand-up guy. And I think with like a Muslim household, you're very skeptic about who's coming in the household. But like my parents were like, this guy. So respectful. And I guess from there, it's just, yeah.
And I think even like what people don't know as well, and I think people should also know about it, is that is, I feel, where your style also like came from as well.
Yeah, I was talking about it yesterday as well, just about how both my parents influenced me so much, like my childhood home, like that sort of environment nurtured me to sort of respect, the principles, not only in terms of people, but also like principles in terms of style and design. And then once you understand those principles, you can learn to take them apart and then break them and do your own thing. I was saying, like, reading my dad's and mom's old Esquire, GQs, even like FHM. It's like, I know we were talking about it the other day about how FHM, its whole identity has changed, but just being able to see like these other perspectives, these vintage Vogues, like how sort of fashion has been told, how design has been told, even in like the L homes, Now that like I'm in my own space, like I get to translate that as well, in my own sort of style, and that's just another thing from my parents subconsciously influencing me, But yeah, I'm grateful to them,
now you even talk about from sway in the posse. You wanna have plants there by the that day when you said you wanna put a plant on top of the TV, I said, my bro, are you actually? That's not with you. So like it's nice also just seeing you being able to, because like Kavi always wanted to be in your own space. Like as much as it is now being like at the posse, it is also now like being in your own space.
Yeah, it's like a studio. being at the studio every day, you know, I'm at the studio right now, you know, but like it's you wake up and you're like, whoa, I'm in the studio. No, but it's actually a house.
Even the fact that we could like make dance videos, like that was crazy. Like
it is.
Just making dance videos, you do whatever you want to do.
Now I wanted to get out because it was like I needed sort of now my own sort of, I don't know, like I was saying, like being with my parents all the time. It's like it's now I'm trying to, I learned the principles, I got all the knowledge, and now I got to redefine them. So I need to redefine them in my own space as well. Yeah.
And then something that I also saw as well, that people also know you for, the bro behind VHS. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's how bros always like identify you as well, in terms of like your style and how you shoot things as well. How did you actually get into like VHS? And even that's crazy because I've never even like asked you about it, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
But like how did you get into it? Like where did it come from?
You know, my sister, Mara, she's a photographer.
Shout out Mara.
Yeah, and she influenced me quite a bit in terms of me picking up a camera. I'm very like, I'm sad to say that like the first VHS I held I actually broke when I was like 8 years old. Like my mom would always tell me this, like I was like holding this camera and then I dropped it on the ground and then it never worked again. And in that, like since then I felt like, you know, I needed to actually get my parents another camera. And then I think I was 16, it was like 6 years later, and at the Checkers in Emerentia, you know, the Sunday market. And my parents also put this thing in me in like secondhand clothing, secondhand antiques, secondhand sort of paraphernalia, collectibles, whatever. It was like a ritual for me every Sunday of the month. Like no matter how much money I had, I was gonna go to the market and I was gonna just compel, like buy whatever I could, you know. And I saw this like Sony High 8 camera, and at that point, like I didn't really know the differences between like the different formats. Like I just saw old ass camera that I knew I had broken at one point and I needed to replace. So at that point, I didn't have that much crew and I didn't have much cash on me. I went to the ABSA inside the Checkers. I like saw my savings. I was like, the camera was 400. I only had 3 clipper in the bank, and I was like, okay, damn.
So
I said 300, and then I begged the person, like the person who was selling it. I was like, please, you know me. I'm here every week. Every weekend you're here, and like he sold it to me for 300, and I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, don't forget about this. And yeah, that was my first cam, essentially. I think, yeah, that was my first, before I even, I had a point and shoot at that point, but that was my first VHS cam. VHS or High 8, whatever tape cam. And it didn't work at all. It didn't work. But I admired it. It's still at home, it's catching dust. There's a tape which is stuck inside of it, which I can't even get out. But that was like my first. And this was fascinating from then. And I wanted to always, you know, I was like, okay, this one didn't span. The next one I get, I'm gonna make sure that it works. And yeah, from there I was going from like Braamfontein to Orange Grove, Pretoria, like even I went to Pretoria on Facebook Marketplace, like just trying to get a nice camera. And
the scammers.
Yeah, the scammers.
All the scammers over there. Yeah.
But I eventually got it, and it's actually the camera that I still use to this day. It's like a nice Sony Video 8 camera. And yeah, I think the trickiest part about using that camera was obviously converting the tape footage into digital footage, like you know, edit it in Premiere and stuff. And that took around maybe like 3 months, just sort of getting all the gear that I needed to transfer all the footage. And
I remember when you first bought like
the
cables. And
stuff. And it was like a whole setup: USB, AV, S video to USB into my laptop, and then I had to download a software called Virtual Dub. See, I'm unlocking things. This is a virtual dub and virtual dub captures, and a lot of people don't realize, like, when you're shooting on a camera, on like a tape camera, you have to convert it via VCR. So I mostly use my camera's VCR, but sometimes I use a tape deck VCR, and that's straight in that. So everything, when you're trying to get that footage, you have to run it back. So it's from front to finish, you have to capture all that footage.
Crazy.
So that's why it also takes so long sometimes to process, because it's like I have to actually sit down with this and make sure that there's no like hiccups or no like jumps, or if the tape gets caught, like sometimes it'll just like mess up completely. And I have to sit through that, and at times it can be like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. And and then from there, that's just my medium of use. But then putting it onto like a filter, for example, that's just another way of like communicating like my language. You know what I mean? I remember I was so frantic to get that filter out, because I felt like whenever I have an idea, I can feel like 5 other people in different parts of the world have the same ideas, and I'm like, I need to get this out as soon as possible. So I think I sent you like the private links.
I was the first brew with that thing.
Because I had to take a photo behind the viewfinder of the camera, and then put that through. I had to get the right angle. I remember I was trying to get the right angle every time. I was like,
they even had like 3 different
I used different cameras even, because I was like, I don't know what camera to use. And I settled on this nice Sony Digital 8 camera, and that was the process. It was just like, I remember it was like 2-3 months of me just being like, getting the right sort of like I don't know what to say, like the right sort of like dimensions, and like using the right blur, Gaussian blur on the background, and a directional blur on the movement on the phone. So when you move the phone, just the layer of the camera moves. And I had to learn. Oh, at that point, that was my first time I'd ever made a filter. So I was learning Spark AR, like the software to make filters, as I was making this filter. And that filter came out, and I don't know, I think it's one of the biggest filters on Instagram.
Wasn't the K-Tornado one the biggest one?
See, the one with the flip phone, it's not as big. Even though it's big, it's not as big, because I can see all my impressions and opens and shares. And I think the flip phone is half as big as that. But in that, like, I created a new genre of filters, which is like the viewfinder, seeing 2 things. I don't even know what you call it. It's like different perspective filter. And I'm quite proud of that.
Like, that is wild. Like when I first started downloading the filters, I was like, what is this bro doing? Because the first time I was just like, okay, you download it, and that's crazy. But then you just started like doing them, and then people also started like jumping on it as well. Like brews also started being open to download filters now.
True. And at this point, like I always say this, the filter doesn't even belong to me at this point. It just exists on Instagram. You know what I mean? It just exists. Like, it's not me. It's not associated with me even. It's just used. So I think that's cool. So if it's like, it's not connected to you, but it just exists.
Just
using it. Even like those celebs. It's like, even though they have no idea it's me, and I don't really mind that they have no idea it's me. But it's like they're just using it, and it's like this is just something in their day when they're like, I'm just gonna use this filter today. That's interesting to me.
And it's crazy also just like how you're able to take that into your span as well. Even with the thing with Tebe, the donkey, the form of the form. Like, what are you thinking when you're down like that for?
I'm proud of that documentary because it took such a long time to sort of get to where it is. I remember Tebe speaking about it for the first time, like the movie actually, last year, beginning of the year, and he was like, I have this crazy idea of Kill Bill, you know, but in like South Africa.
Oh yeah.
Just like black women. And it's like, it's gonna be bogus. It's gonna be bogus. And I was like, what? And they were like, instead of samurai swords, machetes.
Crazy.
You know? And I was like, this is gonna be insane, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I just need to be involved in any capacity. I wanted to be involved. There was a lot of radio silence about it because of Corona, the virus.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I was like, okay, I know it's gonna happen eventually. And then Tamara was, shout out Tamara.
Shout out to you.
Tamara. Money. So at that point, Tamara and I, we were like working together we're seeing each other I would say every third day, you know. There could be a week where we could see each other every day, you know. Like she was just picking me up from home, and we just go do crazy shit. Crazy shit, but then we just do like normal shit. I say we do crazy shit, but it's also like just regular things. So we just do things or whatever. And then she was like, oh yeah, I'm coming back from the casting for the Tebe Magugu film. And I was like, okay. You know, I wasn't hearing the stuff because obviously I'm not directly inside. Yeah. But I was like, okay, I need to sort of be within this conversation somehow. And yeah, Tamara was like, yeah, you know, I'm casted and I'm gonna be inside and it's been crazy. I'm like, yeah, that's amazing. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, I need to be inside.
You casted yourself.
I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, I need to get inside. And they initially were planning to shoot in Lesotho, actually, which is crazy. And the shoot dates were the 4th of January, 3rd of January. Yeah. But then it got pushed back because of actually a robbery. It was a robbery where like, Tebe, a lot of the set was stolen, like the costume, the jewelry, down the road from the studio.
Okay, right.
From a truck. Yeah. At gunpoint, Chloe Andrea.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bit crazy. And like also the snakeskin boots. Truck.
I wonder where they put it.
Tebe was like, it's in Cosmo Street. Tebe was like, it's in Small Street tag, you're gonna see it lined up, and then you're just gonna see Tebe Magugu. For maybe like 5 clip per day. Oh my god. So that's why production was pushed back. And
then when you finally got in?
I got in because Tamara was like, we're shooting on, I've been seeing Tebe up between obviously, and I was like, keep me in mind. And a day or two before shooting was a Sunday evening, and I wasn't even at home, and I was like, yo Tebe, what's up, what's good? And then Tebe sent me an email. I was like, we don't have budget for you. I'm so sorry. And I was like, okay. Okay. I was like, I'm gonna be there. Because I was like, I need to tell the story. And Tebe on the morning, it was like 6 a.m. Tebe had forgotten to send it to me the night before. The location on the first day, and sent it to me in the morning. I woke up, first thing I saw, address, and I was like, I wasn't even at home, I was in 4 years. I like, jumped out of bed, I remember. I just jumped out, made Future Life. This is not a Future Life plug, this is not sponsored by Future Life. And I was like, I need to be in studio. Told my mother to prepare my stuff because at that point my mom already knew the gear that I was using.
Shout out Manzo.
And
shout out Manzo.
I like hopped in, got home, checked everything, double checked, and I remember like I was in the Uber to the studio. The studio we shot in was in Bubblegum, Marlborough.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I want to tell a story. Like that was in the back of my mind. I was like, I want to tell a story.
That was the day I jumped to your posy.
Oh yes, you called me and you're like, yo, I'm outside. I'm like, with my dog streets to
you're not even there.
It was my Snoopy.
Dog, Snoopy, dog. That fool still hates me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean he's a tough lover. He's a tough lover. But yeah, that first day at the studio, it was a bit tough because I was there just because of Tebe. Production didn't know I was gonna be there. Everybody else, like everybody didn't know what I was doing there, to be honest. First couple of days I was just kind of in the background. And that was the first time that I had used my micro cassette voice recorder for a project. And yeah, the one thing I would say I learned from this project is like, don't do things alone. It's like, because I was there in the helm of like the video, the audio,
also the audio at the same time.
And I was like also just, you know, having to try to, you know, the thing about doing these on-set sort of things, it's like you can't disturb the process. You can never disturb the process. You know, the last thing you want is a director shouting at you. You need to know the right time to ask questions or sort of get your foot in between. And yeah, I was, like I said, I was there with my micro cassette recorder coming up to people. Like asking people like, you know, especially I think the actresses were at first actresses and actors were very skeptical of me if they didn't know me. Sio, she was so skeptical of me.
Why is Bru recording?
She was so skeptical of me. The first when I was asking, because I was like, yeah, I'm just doing a documentary, and I just came up to her and I was asking her rather, I don't know, introspective.
Need to be like skeptical.
I was asking like very introspective questions, you know. I was like asking them how did they feel as the character, and then how did the character relate to their real life.
Crazy. And
you know, what did they have for lunch? You know, and then bring it back and like be like, what was your, you know, emotive sort of motivation for pause, you know? You know, but then be like, bring it back to earth and say like, what is your next project in real life, you know? But that was it was my first like step into doing documentaries, and you know, it was very tough for 3 days. Like I said, just trying to find my place on set, because I was there just because of Tebe. And like when you're there, like you're just a guy, you know, and like people are like very wary of their space, you know. So I had to tiptoe a lot of the time, you know, and only by the third day I would say people like doubted me. But I would say I used it a bit to my advantage, because also in that sort of point, I was very much in the background. People didn't take notice of me. So I could get a lot of things that, you know, a lot of things that you wouldn't have gotten if they were in scene. You know,
you were getting like the natural shots. Like,
that's what I was saying. I was like, I had my telephoto lens that day. I got it a week before, and I was just taking these long shots. I don't know, like third day by the mine dump. On top of the mine dump, I was like 70, 80 meters high. And you know, I was a bit scared, you know what I mean? I was so high. But I had to get the shot, you know. But it felt gratifying. It felt good. It felt like I was telling a story.
Did you ever think that the film was gonna be published?
I don't know if it was gonna be published. You know, on the day when I started shooting, Tebe was like, Paris Fashion Week is always looking for for more content.
Yeah.
So that, in my mind, I was like, I was gonna shoot content. I was just shooting for the Paris Fashion Week. And also in my mind, I knew that Tebe was in the wool competition. I forgot what it's called. It's not Woolrich. It's the wool something competition. And just to boost the portfolio collection, I was like, I'll do this. You know what I mean? And when Tebe watched the documentary for the first time, I mean, the editing process for the documentary was also quite hellish. I know you can.
There's times when I'm sleeping and I'm just like, I'm looking at you. I'm like, damn, bro, I'm dosing. Because it's not like I can even help you, like say, no man, do this, you know. But like seeing you, like I think that's what people also don't see. So they're just gonna see you drop this thing, but like they don't see them. And I think that's what people don't even cover about.
And you know, it's just a credit. At the end of the day, it's just like edited by, but it was a lot. You know,
just to get like a credit.
Like I said, like earlier, it's the thing of you have to go through the whole tape, convert that tape, digitize, and I had to do that twice because I did the audio and the visual. So I had to convert the audio tape and the AV tape of the video camera. And I was having problems with my audio. I don't even know what was going on. And because this is the first time I was converting from a micro cassette recorder. So there's always going to be like something which is going wrong. And eventually, you know, I was in a rush because also momentum. The film came out on the 3rd or 4th of March.
Also, you just finished editing Benzo's video.
I just finished Benzo's music video.
You didn't even dose for that video.
That was, and that was that week. That was 2 weeks. We were hellish. We were hellish. Oh my god! And we didn't have Wi-Fi at the house also. So we were just, it was just down.
That we'd just be going
it was
to...
just down. We were just going to unnamed coffee shops. Because we don't want to give any...
we're having so much coffee that week, it's crazy. Like, just to get the Wi-Fi.
Coffee and vegan sandwiches. I think you still owe me.
Nah, we done. I told you it's cancelled that.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it was that whole post process. Was quite hellish because the week 3rd or 4th March it came out. I was like, I needed to make this documentary come out within a week. And I was just there. And I mean, you know, I had to also get the score, and I think adding that the Japanese ambient music, like the dripping of the water, you know, everything added to that sort of emotive, spiritual feeling that's in the documentary. When I was doing the documentary, you know, I was really inspired by the Apocalypse Now documentary. I forgot what it's called, but that documentary on Apocalypse Now and how crazy it was to film that movie, and I was like, that's what I'm going for. That's what I'm very inspired by. And I was like I said, I just want to tell a story. Day 2, at the end of day 2, I remember I was really close to tears, and I was calling my friend Mirajan in Cape Town, and I was like, yo, I just want to tell a story. I just want to tell a story. Because I couldn't, and that day was a very tense day on set because a lot of things didn't go as planned. A lot of things changed. I could hardly get the chance to be like, you know, because I had so many questions that I needed to ask, but no opportunities to sort of ask them. But leaving, I missed the first shuttle back home as well.
So where were you blowing?
Cradle Moon. And I was like, I can't go home from here, so I had to wait another hour for the shuttle. I was just like, my phone died. After the phone call, like with Mira, my phone died. I was so hungry. It was so bad. And I was in Cradle Moon. But like, I don't know, Tebe didn't know I was going through this.
Oh,
you know, Tebe's like, I don't want to also pressure Tebe.
Yeah.
But like, Tebe didn't know I was going through this, but he took Bona and I out for dinner after that day.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that gave me a bit of motivation, you know, to sort of be like, I can do this. Like, I can do this. That day, just really put all that energy and like just asked all the questions, got all the shots. There were even a couple, like I said, I was climbing these dunes, and a couple of the shots, Kristen actually saw me from like taking those shots. And she was like, damn, I need to get that angle, you know?
And how was the shooting with Kristen?
I admire Kristen a lot, you know, because of what she sort of, I don't know, the steps she took, you know, in South African art, you know, and I felt a bit privileged to be on set, you know. You know, but I think seeing her process as well made me realize, like, you know, I can do whatever.
Who's your favorite like photographer like of all time?
Of all time? It's quite. I really like LaChapelle, David LaChapelle. I'm more inspired by film directors and photographers. There's a lot of great photographs which I love. Also, you know, photographers. I love to sort of look at their work in series. I think now. Nowadays with Instagram, everything is so minimized to like
one picture
at most 10 swipe carousel. But like I love to sort of go through books, you know. But like I said, film directors, like we've been watching a lot of Martin Scorsese. I love Martin Scorsese so much.
That's number one.
I love Martin Scorsese. Last week Lenzo and I watched Taxi Driver. Last night we watched Raging Bull, and it's so inspiring to watch.
And like since now we've been watching like gang movies, it's like even just how I see things, it's like it's different.
Yeah, you know, I think when you sort of train your mind and your eye in these movies, because a lot of the time when you watch them, you think it's like, oh, it's just a regular movie, but it's like when you actually like sit down and you watch it, when you analyze each scene for scene, when there's like scenes, shots within shots, and scenes within scenes, and
you're killing me yesterday, man. When they were coming with this other, it was a crazy shot. You were like, whoa, did you see that shit? I was like, yo.
With Sugar Ray, when they were with Sugar Ray, I don't know what that zoom is called. It's like some optical zoom.
But it looks like it's going in.
Yeah, so the zoom is it's like the camera is moving forward, but the zoom is moving out. Or is it the zoom is going out and the camera is moving backward? But that shot.
Crazy. Oh, you look like you're at a stadium. That is crazy.
But Martin Scorsese, Wong Kar-wai. Love Wong Kar-wai, Fallen Angels. Fallen Angels is one of my favorite movies. Also Chungking Express, In the Mood for Love. All these movies sort of inform the way that I would like to tell stories, whether it's in a video format, whether it's photography, even if it's telling like in filters, you know, because these stories are being told through the filter. And what I like about creating filters is people can create their own stories, you know what I mean?
Like your filter.
You know what I mean? It's like even though it's not connected to me anymore, it's like these people are creating their own narratives, you know, they're telling their stories. And through a story of mine, which is really cool. I also love Greg Araki. Doom Generation and Insight. He, in the movie Inside, like that homeboy, the protagonist, he's at the VCR and I was like, that's me! I was like, that's me!
Me and Tam, every time like we're watching something, we see a bro coming up with the VHS, we're like, damn, that's fine. Every time, you know? it's kind of been like, now it's like your thing, you know?
Yeah, it's cool, you know, but it's always about moving
forward.
Rebrand like Jesus. Up to come something new.
Yeah, I think a rebrand would be like the craziest thing.
But it's not even something. It's not even something to think about, really. The best, I don't know. Rebrand is such a term, which is so like, it's so loosely used. You know what I mean? It's like you change your hairstyle, and people are like, it's a rebrand. That's not a rebrand. You just changed your hairstyle. You know, but whatever. Yeah. No, but. Yeah, going on like Gregor Raki, these sort of like film directors, they were doing a lot of the things for the first time. And when I was watching I was reading a story on Virgil today about how Virgil Abloh always 1%, 3% rule.
Oh yes, aware.
But he's been so popularized that the new norm is to sort of do the 3%, 1% rule.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And but it's less common now for people to do something new, if you know what I mean. Because everybody's just like, yeah, man, I'm doing the 3% rule. You know? That's me, dog. I put it in the Photoshop, I turned it into a PNG.
Yeah.
And I put my logo. Come on.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, you gotta be a critic of yourself. So, when I was doing t-shirts, people are like, nah, you just copied Dennis Rodman Nike.
I saw the brewers beeping you on Twitter. It's like, this guy just copied Nike, what's going on?
But, you know, I think it's always about contextuality. What does it stand for? I know I wasn't trying to copy Nike, Dennis Rodman. I mean, everybody knows the shit, right? Everyone knows the shit. I knew that, but it's like, how can we turn this into our context?
You know what you reminded me of? Damn Starbucks.
That's what Damn Starbucks. Yeah.
Literally, that like reminded me of that, bro.
Yeah, literally, like Nathan Fielder.
Oh yeah.
But put it in the context of South Africa, you know, like Dennis Rodman was an icon in the 90s, still is an icon now, but the sort of that prestige that he held and how he was doing things that for someone in that limelight which were obscene, you know what I mean? The way that he presented, the way that he would style himself, his hair, you know, he represented something new, something Gen Z. Gen Z. he represented something, you know, something that the times are changing and like there's a sort of a revolution or whatever. And in that same right, Nkuli represents that in our culture of South Africa. You know what I mean? So, yeah, go on Twitter. Say I copied Nike, but like I just think you don't understand it.
Actually, you don't. Because also it's like, it's not just based on the fact that it's like it's green hair or like that is actually someone else's face.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it. And that face represents something else.
Something else.
You know, and Nkuli represents like, so much in South Africa.
Because I wasn't thinking basketball when I thought of that. Like the T, you know what I'm saying? So it just shows that it does like create like new context. That is why.
Yeah.
For this year, what do you feel like is next for you?
I just want to sort of grow my language, develop it, you know, in terms of visual communication. Franadilla. I really just want to hone in on what I'm trying to do, trying to understand myself more. Maybe make a camera, you know, who knows?
Make a cam.
No, I'm kidding. I don't want to get.
Make a cam.
I might get sued by Panasonic. But I just want to continue on what I've been trying to do, you know, and not compromise. Yeah, no compromise. More stories.
More stories.
Yeah. Try to tell stories.
More stories. Yeah, that's tough, Shy. But it's crazy because there's gang things that we don't even get to speak about that I even got to hear now. You know, so that was tough, Shy. So you wanna base the people where they can find you on the IG, on Twitter.
You can find me on Franadilla and Franasonic on IG, and yeah, I guess YouTube, Twitter, same handle. Everywhere, worldwide.
Yeah. Come on. You can find me on IG, Lenzo Mangonyane. Same thing on Twitter. And you can find this episode on Bubblegum Club TV on YouTube. So you guys should subscribe. Hit the link. Let's go. Got Franadilla. So we check you guys soon. Pay.